Hello guys. So you might see that I'm a bit frazzled. I've been spending last night mostly fighting copyright claims. Because I will actually show you this here. There, copyright claim dispute. I'm currently preparing to expand the content on this channel to spice it up with a little bit of gameplay a few times a week. For this I'm playing Batman Arkham Origins, and if you look at our thingy here, let's just go to one of the videos. Not all of them have been claimed. In this one, for example, I completely forgot to add sound for some reason. My OBS derped and didn't record my sound output. Yeah, let's take the first one in the series. The I Am Batman video. Look at details. Claimed by Christopher Drake, Christopher Drake, Christopher Drake. Who did the soundtrack for this game. Then we have the second video is fine, the third video is fine because it literally has no game sound. Then the fourth video again, copyright claimed by Christopher Drake, and again Christopher Drake. And now the last video, which I just uploaded, which I haven't completed making ready yet, again. Copyright claim, Shadow of the Bat, Christopher Drake. Mr. Drake, I understand that your soundtrack is really cool and really good, but these are Let's Play videos. As far as I know, they fall under fair use. And I've spent last night doing all these counter thingies. Didn't get much sleep because of that. Come on, I do a few cents on these videos. Are you really gonna begrudge me that? I mean, really. Yeah, come on, I'll censor this in the eventual video. Sorry, but it's none of your business what I talk to my fiance about. So you'll have big picture on this side of the screen. But yeah, today I opened up this again here. The hot stories bookmarks that I made for myself. And this is actually very nice because FilmFiction will sort these stories for me by how much people like them. Meaning I can then choose one that seems interesting and hopefully find stories that you guys like. Like this one, which is called Rocks Are Dumb. Apple Bloom is tasked with a homework assignment about rocks, but she thinks rocks are dumb. I mean, why not? Personally, I find Maud's obsession with rocks a little bit weird as well, so let's put on my glasses. Majin Sieko. Oh, We've read stories on this channel from this author before. Then let's see what we have here. Okay, that was the last of the interruptions from her, even though I would personally prefer to spend time with her, I must really say, because I love my fiance. So let's get to this.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills and plains repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat, repeat the sounding joy. No more let sins and sorrows grow, nor thorns infest the ground. He comes to make his blessings flow, for as the curse is found, for as the curse is found, for as the curse is found. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills and plains repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat, repeat the sounding joy. No more.
Oh, okay. So this story is actually kind of interesting. You know, reminds me of my time in school back in the day, when our teachers had us do really dumb assignments at times. I mean, really dumb. Like the one that I talked about in the comment time here, which was an assignment where you just got a list of words and had to do a description, a way description, you know? You tell someone how to get to your house or something. And, oh my goodness, it was so annoying because I forgot to do it. And then I did it on the spot when she picked me to read my part. And she still failed me. You know, I made it up on the spot. I didn't stutter. I didn't pause. I just rambled it down. And then she wanted to see my notebook and was like, yeah, you didn't do your homework. So I'm going to send a letter home with you to your dad. My dad was a real hard ass when it came to that shit. He didn't like it if I didn't do my homework because it made him, or he said it like that, he said it would make him look bad. And I got in real trouble for this shit because my teacher also wrote into that letter that I tried to deceive her. I'm like, you bitch. I mean, I didn't really deceive her because technically I did that homework, just not at home. I did it on the spot, right in front of her, without writing it down, you know? But no, that wasn't enough for her frickin' creative writing class. And by the way, I talked for a good 15 minutes. Using all the keywords that she had given us. But no, since I didn't have it written down in my notebook, failed. Then again, I mean, I did eventually graduate middle school. And to be fair, I graduated middle school with what I learned in 5th and 6th grade in high school. Didn't really have to study once while I was in middle school. I think once or twice for my irregular verbs in English and a little bit of math. But other than that, not really. Because standards were so different that when we had done fractions in 5th grade when I was in high school. When I went to middle school, I switched schools, so I failed to reach the next grade in high school. But since I had been held back already, they wouldn't allow it again. So instead of having to repeat 6th grade in high school, they sent me to 7th grade in middle school. And they weren't even doing fractions yet. Fractions we did in 8th grade in middle school. And we were, and in middle school I had teachers that were so annoying. I mean, you have no idea. They literally, I remember one teacher who accused me of not taking her or her class seriously, simply because she was, okay, let's put it like this. She wasn't actually one of my teachers on the regular. She was on that day just a substitute for our math teacher because our math teacher had broken a leg. And so she came in on short notice to give us something to do and, to watch over us. And that was in 7th grade. So I think a month or so after I had transferred to that class. So I'm sitting there and she's giving us a math sheet to complete with just like decimals and all that, 4.75 plus 0.25, what is the result? 5. Very easy. I can do that in my head. I don't have to write that down, And so she gives us that worksheet, and the person sitting next to me, I remember his name was Felix. Wonder what happened to what became of him, because he eventually transferred out of our school. So Felix sitting there, and he's not understanding a thing. And she was not going to explain it to him. So I'm bending over, I'm like, here, look, Felix, you do it like this and so, and then you can add it here. And so I explained to him how to do this, And then she comes over, looks at my worksheet. She's like, why is your worksheet empty? I'm like, because I can do all these calculations in my head. And she's like, don't try to fool me, young man. You must think that I've been born yesterday. I'm like, no, ma'am. I literally can. I can prove it to you. And then I was about to, take the sheet and do the calculations. There were I think 10 or 15 math problems on that thing. And she's like, don't try to kid me. You've got a calculator somewhere. It's detention for you. And I'm like, what? Yeah, for disrespecting a teacher. And I'm like, ma'am, I am not being disrespectful. I literally want to prove to you that I can do these calculations in my head. I look at it and I know the answer. There's no use in writing it down step by step if I know the answer in my head. And she was like, I am the one who decides if there's any use to it, and you're not doing the work I assigned to you. At that point, I was actually getting a bit angry. So, yeah. So, after class, I follow her to the teacher's lounge, and she gives me a date and time when and a place where I'm told to show up for detention. Detention here works a little bit different than in America, where I understand that you basically have a room with people that have detention, and then one teacher is tasked to look after them. No, here it is, you can get different tasks. At one time when I got detention, I was literally told to clean up the schoolyard. So she just wanted me to sit in on one of her higher grade classes and finish that math paper. That I hadn't finished in class. And I'm like, okay, when? And then she gave me the date and time, and I was already groaning because on that day we only had, I think, 4 periods. So it was a short day. And I knew that she wanted me to come to 6th period, which meant I had to stay for 5th and then sit in on her 6th period. I'm like, fuck. It means I'll miss my bus, I'll be home later and all that, So, since I was a relatively good kid, I went to the teacher's lounge on the day she had told me, at the time she had told me. And I was hungry, I was a bit crabby because, I had already eaten my lunch. It was getting late, and I was getting hungry again, and was running out of stuff to drink, didn't have any change for the vending machine, it was just a bad day. And then I go to the teacher's lounge and I'm asked hey, I'm looking for Miss Becker. I'm supposed to do detention with her today. And my regular math teacher just looks at me and is like, oh, she went home like 2 hours ago. Her last 2 periods got cancelled. I was pissed. And then I looked at my regular math teacher and was like, well, will you tell her that I was here, but she wasn't? And he's just like, yeah, you know what? I'll do that. You go home. So, yeah, I came home literally like 2.5 hours later than I would have usually, just because she wasn't satisfied with me not doing her worksheet, because I could solve all of it in my head, because I had already done all of that in the first, I think, 3 weeks of 5th grade in high school. The only math stuff that I actually had to study for later on was algebra and what was it? Parables? Is that the right translation? Like graphs and all that shit. I had to do a little bit of studying for that. But otherwise, really? I mean, I never got stellar grades in math, to be quite honest, because I couldn't be bothered. But in general, I didn't find it that hard. The only stuff that I found hard was what we did later on, like calculations with, let's say, 4 or 5 unknown numbers. Oh, I hated those. I literally hated those. Then again, my school life was a bit weird anyhow. I had this one girl in my class who kind of found it an acceptable thing to do to grab her scissors one day in class. Now, mind you, we were in 9th grade. If that happened in elementary school, I would have kind of understood. But we were in 9th grade, and she just giggled her ass off, grabbed a piece of my, then I had relatively long hair, just grabbed a strand of my hair and just cut it off. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's just holding the strand of my hair. It's like, ha 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 ha. I'm like, girl, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because it's, I don't like that. Also, it looked horrible because, as I said, I had relatively long hair, and then someone just cuts a handful of it off. My dad was not impressed. Or I had so many. I could tell you so many weird stories from my time in school. I remember there was also this thing because girls for some reason just weren't really interested in me, and so I went through most of my school life without having a girlfriend. And that kind of brought up the rumors that I was gay. And that made me quite angry at the time. Because, different times. Nowadays, I don't really care if you call me gay or whatever. But back then, childish insult and all that. So there was this neighbor's kid who said that I was gay, and then I chased him around the schoolyard, and we had like 3 different levels of schoolyards, and you could either go from one to the other through stairs, or there was this like long way around, and it was lined on the right and left with bushes and all that shit. And he was a good runner, so he ran from me because he saw that I was getting angry, and I would have done anything to the kid just to make this completely clear. I might have gotten angry. I might have shouted at him a little bit if I had caught him, but I was never much of a violent kid. And so he runs, and it was a hot day. I couldn't catch up with him. And this idiot, this absolute muppet, okay, like turns around while running, trips over his own feet. He's like 5 meters in front of me, okay? And he trips over his own feet. And I completely forgot that I have to add effects in here. So he trips over his own feet and flies like into one of the thorn bushes that lined that walkway. Face first. So he's crying. I'm helping him out of the bush because I'm like, oh my god, did he hurt himself? I wasn't even... Some people later claimed that I'd only helped him because I was fearing that I got in trouble. But that wasn't the case. I was literally thinking, oh my god, is he okay? And so eventually a teacher came, the teacher who had schoolyard duty. And he asked that boy what had happened. And that absolute asshole claimed that I had tripped him. Just for that accusation, I almost, admittingly, snapped and would have clocked him in front of the teacher. I know I said I wasn't a violent kid, but, can't blame me if a dude throws me under the bus like that. And so I did that. I mean, I didn't throw him in there, I didn't clog him, but I controlled myself. Sorry, it's sometimes hard to translate my thoughts. Oh no, that's the wrong one. So I controlled myself, and then that teacher was like, you know what? I'm not gonna deal with this. Why did you push him into the bush? And I'm like, I didn't. And he's like, I don't believe you. He claims you did. There are no other witnesses. So you must have been the one pushing him. Why did you chase him? So I told him why I was chasing him. And so we actually both got a punishment. That other kid got a had to write an essay on why it is not okay to assume that I was gay. And I had to write an essay on why I shouldn't push people into bushes. The funny part is, we never delivered those essays. We were on the bus home together later that day, and we were like, you gonna write that essay? No. Are you gonna write yours? No. Okay, agreed. And the teacher never even asked about it. So, yeah, I have so many stories from my time in school. It is ridiculous. So, another story is actually about my 5th and 6th grade math teacher. Well, my math teacher on my second run through 5th grade, because on the first run I actually had a different one. So I remember that the daughter of my GP, my general practitioner, was in my class back in the day, like in my first try on 5th grade in high school. And she wasn't the thinnest girl in our class, okay? I mean, her daddy and her mommy were also a little bit bigger. I mean, I am, I don't fat shame or body shame anyone. It's just, it was a fact. She was a big girl. And one day, that math teacher, that was an older guy, he caught her chatting to her seat neighbor in class. And that was something that he hated when students did that. Now, as I said, she was the daughter of my GP. Very well, he had a lot of money, okay? So, of course, his daughter had her own pony. And they were talking about her planning to go out that weekend with her family to where they kept the horse, the pony, to ride the pony. And the teacher heard that and made the comment, and I will never forget that. Let me just try to translate this into English. Don't lie, a poor pony wouldn't be able to carry a hippo like you. And the entire class just went quiet. Because 90% of the kids in our class were patients of her dad. And we knew who her dad was. Of course. So we were like, you didn't just say that. And then he must have realized what he said as well and wanted to apologize, but she would have none of it. She just opened her backpack, pushed everything on her desk into her backpack, and ran, crying out of the classroom. And he was shocked for a second, and then chased after her. And we just sat there and were like, did this just happen? Did this literally just happen? Another time, same school, different teacher, second run in 5th grade. My geography teacher. He was a bit of an ass. Okay? He always made it clear that he had actually wanted to become a professor at uni, but hadn't made the cut, and he doesn't actually like kids. And so one day he came to class and, well, he did something that would definitely not be acceptable today. He came into the classroom, ripped off his sweater and just threw it into a corner of the the classroom. Someone was the absolute champ, it definitely wasn't me, and grabbed that sweater and hid it. He did that to show the t-shirt he was wearing beneath the sweater. Beneath the sweater, he wore a t-shirt, "Me boss, you nothing." He really didn't like kids. Like, for example, just to put this into perspective, the day we were talking about the Himalayas, he said, "Today we're going to talk about the Himalayas. Perfect place to get rid of pests like you." That was literally what he said. So that day he came in with that t-shirt under his sweater, and one of us hit the sweater. Like about 10 minutes into the class, the public address system goes off and says, "Mr. Spenner, please come to the principal's office. And you see it in his eyes, he's panicking. Okay? He was looking for that sweater so he could cover up the shirt. But the sweater was gone. He looked for 5 minutes for that frickin' sweater. And no one said a word. Then he's like, I will find out who hit that thing. And you're gonna regret it. And so he was forced to go up to the principal's office wearing the shirt saying, me boss, you nothing. Because he was called again over the public address system. Now what you have to know about the layout of that school is that the 5th graders were on the 1st floor and the offices were right above that. Meaning, we heard about 5 minutes later our principals just going off on the dude. Screaming his fucking head off. And I was like, well, you kinda deserved that. You know, you kinda deserved that for all the comments you've been making over the last few months and all that. So he, as far as I remember, he got reprimanded for that. For that shirt and a few other things in the end. But when we finally went into 6th grade, where it meant we don't have to take geology lessons anymore unless we want to, our class pooled our pocket money together Is that right? No. That's right. And so we bought him this little ceramic homeless person that was leaning on an S. It was a bum, you know, leaning on an S. Because what you must know, this guy's name was Spenner. So Spenner. The German word for bum is Penner, written Penner. And we bought a bum leaning on an S as a going away present for him. He was less than amused. I will always remember this anecdote. It was just... Nowadays you couldn't make jokes like that because it would be offensive. But back then, you know, it was the 90s. No one cared. It was so nice. MLP, Brony, audio book, know, it's just, I was born in 85. I grew up in the 90s. My humor will not be what a lot of people think about nowadays. But yeah, with that, you see, Rocks Are Dumb is done. And I will now transfer this file over to that laptop. But I will not render the video yet because that will take ages and I want to record more today. So, see you guys in the next one.